The page layout menu. The page layout menu is all about how things appear on the printed page. It takes our Excel spreadsheet and alters coloring orientation and sizing to allow the best fit on a sheet of paper. Now, while working with the page layout ribbon, I would also like to suggest that you always have your print preview turned on in your quick launch toolbar. Themes are a new characteristic in Microsoft Excel. When we go to themes, themes allow us to change the coloring of the data very quickly in the background. Now, the concept behind themes is that it'll automatically color coordinate with other items such as smart art that are certainly put onto the screen itself. Now, next to your themes, you'll see colors. Same kind of component, the only difference here is I can create a new color scheme. Here I can select the shades I want. Again, you may have to be aware that there are plenty themes to activate, so you may not want to add any additional ones in Excel. Underneath our colors are our fonts. Our fonts let us very quickly change the fonts in the background. Again, you'll see that the fonts have been pre-arranged to be classic styling and matching as you place on your tiles, your data and your headings and so on. Next, you will find effects, which are particularly our actual smart art. It allows you to select the style and then every smart art that you use will come up with the proper style. Another tab you can find on the ribbon is margins. Margins, orientation, size, the area that we print, breaks, background and tiles are all the constituents for the final printed sheet. To understand all these components, we will go to the print preview to see the actual edging of the screen itself. Here you will find that there are all the same tools, but they are just in a slightly different format. The first thing that you will notice here that you can select active sheets, one-sided printing, collation, and you can see the orientation too. Under the orientation, there are two choices, landscape or portrait. At any moment while working with the orientation, we can work with the margins. When I go into the margins, it automatically defaults to normal margins, wide margins and narrow margins. If I want, I can change the margins by using custom margin. Here I can switch it down as low as I want. When I say OK, it'll switch off the margins itself. You'll also see that there is some custom scaling. I can ask it to fit all columns on one page. You'll notice now I'm viewing at page 1 of 1 as from before. We can also work with the arrangements on the screen itself. Orientation automatically lets us to default left-hand side of the screen. On the bottom of the page, we notice page setup. That means that if I want to go to margins and I want to center this horizontally on the screen, I can click on OK and it will center it horizontally. If I change back over to landscape orientation, it is also centered on the screen. I'm going to return again to the bottom to page setup, and you'll find here also I can automatically fit it to one page. I can adjust it down just a tad. This is essentially useful when we have data that doesn't quite fit on one screen. There's a hint I'd like to give you. When it comes to essentially adjusting your size, you will never want to really go much lower than 85%. It makes your document very difficult to read, so you may want to remember that it's wonderful to be able to scale a document, but it still needs to be understandable. The margins were the same margins that we were able to do on the screen earlier. Again, whenever I go to page setup, I'm going back to the earlier dialog boxes. You'll also have a look at that we are able to go to header footers. We will see it in the next session.